Hey guys, welcome to our full moon in Virgo. We are officially halfway through our last energetic lunar cycle of the natural new year, our Pisces cycle. The natural new year, of course, begins with the new moon in Aries each spring when the sun and the moon come into exact alignment in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. This usually is somewhere around the time of the spring equinox as well, and it marks, like I said, the natural energetic beginning of our new year. But being in our Pisces cycle right now, Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. This is the closing out energy of our 2022. We're really, from an energetic level, wrapping up 2022 energy with this cycle now, and we are officially at the midpoint of that final culminating cycle, which is honestly, it is the culminating cycle of this 12-month lunar cycle period, but it's really, I feel like, representing much more than that this year because it's also lining up with Saturn entering the sign of Pisces for beginning a brand new 2-year cycle, and simultaneously we're also going to be having Pluto enter the sign of Aquarius coming up here over this next couple of days, and that is beginning a 20-year cycle. So although we are in energy that's culminating this past year, we are also in energy that's culminating this past 2 years and also this past 20 years as we close out the 2022 astrological energetic year as well. So we are in some thick energy, you guys, of endings and beginnings. There's some very karmic cycles that we've been involved in, generational perhaps, that are coming to an end at this point in time. And we are no longer willing to settle for what's not working for us. We are no longer willing to accept anything that is contradictory to what we need to support our growth and our personal happiness and personal joy and personal fulfillment. Major changes. It's honestly like we are in a shift of the ages right now. Of course, that's what we are doing on this channel on a daily basis. We are narrating the shift of the ages, but it really is, as we close out this Pisces cycle with this Virgo full moon coming in, which I will tell you, you guys, this full moon is all about it's a healing full moon, exponentially. Major themes of healing and overcoming and conquering and moving on are very much interwoven in the energy as it's coming together for this full moon, but it's also about sort of transcending and learning a lot, shifting our mindset, gaining a greater level of self-understanding and self-awareness and an ability to sort of practically apply some of the wisdom that we've gained through experience to alter the course of our future at this point in time. Personal paradigm shifts are underway, you guys, and like I said, not only are we closing out this energetic calendar year, lunar, astrological, natural new year with this energy, but it's also ending a 2-year period of time, a 20-year period of time, and it's really marking some very revolutionary and radical new beginnings that are making their way into our experience now. So all of that being said, let's talk about some overall general themes of this full moon as it's coming together today, the energy that's presenting, and then we'll talk about the aspects and the symbolism that's associated with the energy and the aspects that are playing out and coming through. But one thing that I want to say to start our little full moon reading that we have going on is that I noticed a recurring pattern of sevens presenting themselves numerologically in the data of the chart, which we'll talk about. But we have, this is happening on March 7th. So there's the 7 right there. In 2023, we are in a 7 year as well. It's happening at 7:40 a.m. Eastern time, which is actually 12:40 universal time, but if we put the 12 together, there's a 3, and the 4, that's a 7, so we have another 7 there. It's happening at 16 degrees and 40 minutes exactly of the signs of Pisces and Virgo, but if we take 16 and add this 6 and the 1 together, we get 7:40, which is the same numerology that is presenting for the time, Eastern time, of the exact activation. So I find that to be interesting. Anyways, 16 degrees and 40 minutes for the degree placement, right? When we look at the Sabian symbols, which is something that we do on this channel, I always check in with the symbolism associated with whatever aspects or transits are going on, because I feel like they can just give us a very nice additional layer of information that really adds to the context of the energy and the aspects as they're unfolding. So I like to check the Sabians as well, but when we read the Sabians, we always round up a degree because we look at the incoming wave of energy, not the wave of energy that is going out and that is dissipating. So all of that being said, 16 degrees in 40 minutes, the exact activation degree to the minute placement of this full moon. Full moons are oppositions, of course. So the moon and the sun, this is when they come into the exact oppositional alignment. Also, the highest energy point of the month as well. So energy and emotions could be running a bit high, considering the sun is also in the sign of Pisces right now. We could feel very overly sensitive, and with a Virgo full moon, this is also can be a little bit more critical period. So we're going to want to watch some self-judgment and just try to be a little bit more sensitive with situations, people, places, circumstances, ongoings, whatever's playing out over this next couple of days, because the Pisces Virgo full moon, this can always just be a little bit of more touchy, sensitive time. But anyways, we're looking at 17 degrees in terms of the Sabian symbol placement of the position of the moon and the sun. So we have another 7 going on there. So all of these 7s coming through, just something that was sort of jumping out at me. So I wanted to mention it. And I feel like the number 7, of course, it's associated with this 2023 year that we're in. We're in a 7 year. And I feel like this is a 7 full moon cycle as well, just because of all these 7s all over the place. And 7 has a lot to do with overcoming conflicts and overcoming loss and moving forward in a positive direction, sort of compelled by a sense of like inner faith and desire to like evolve and grow and overcome. This is being presented through this 7 emphasis, but also I feel like through some of the symbolism that we will talk about as we get through this report. But there is a need to have persistence this cycle in the face of challenge, or in the face of adversity, or in the face of temptation, and to keep going no matter what, or no matter like how much we want to quit or how much we want to give in or surrender or give up. Like, we need to persevere against whatever challenges or obstructions or just internalized issues, or like I said, even temptations that may be presented to us throughout the course of the cycle. Like, there's a need to persist, a need to overcome, a need to persevere. And it's a part also, I will say, of this hero's journey that this full moon is also very much representing. If I could sort of summarize this energy in, one phrase, that's what it would be. We are definitely going on a personalized hero's journey to really like overcome our past selves, or our lower nature, or our victim complexes, or our lack mindsets, or whatever self-sabotaging thoughts or beliefs or relationships or attachments from the past that had been keeping us from recognizing the truth of our value or the truth of our power, or keeping us in a state where we were actually working against our own progress and growth. That is what we are detaching from. Those are the cycles that we are breaking through. That's the karma that we are being released from as we go through this hero's journey. But in order to get there, there may be some more difficult experiences, or some wounding, or just some loss, or just some things that we need to let go of, that we need to overcome, or that are presenting as these challenges that we need to overcome. But through the process of overcoming, we are gaining this much greater sense of self-awareness. We are gaining this understanding of what it is that we've needed to truly heal ourselves, so that we can release ourselves to move forth in a way that is more conducive to our growth, that is more conducive to the development of the potential and of the value that we are coming to recognize within us on an even deeper level this cycle as well, that is ultimately helping us to begin to create lives for ourselves that are so much more fulfilling, so much more balanced, and just so much more authentically rewarding, like on that soul level, in like, as opposed to maybe like what our experiences had been in the past up until this point in time. So the hero's journey, you guys, is very, very significant, relevant as we're going through this cycle. Really, I feel like a lot of people are going to find this particular theme to be something that they're experiencing and going through over this next couple of weeks, and as we head towards the new moon in Aries. Because the next step, right, where we're going next, requires us to be in alignment with this more evolved version of ourselves, operating from a greater place of self-mastery. So that's the lesson, that's the path, that is the journey that we are on energetically over this next couple weeks. Healing, personal healing, personal growth, old wounds, old traumas, perhaps surfacing, perhaps re-experiencing, but for the purpose of gaining this wisdom, gaining this self-awareness, learning a lot, you guys, as well. This is a Virgo full moon. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the messenger planet, news, information, communications, understanding, mindset, perspective, the conversations that we're having, our mental attitudes generally. The moon lighting things up, some type of learning the truth, additional data, additional facts, additional information, additional context that is clearing things up for us somehow, gaining clarity over things that perhaps we have misunderstood in the past, or we're missing information, or we're missing context about. We also have energy, I feel like, simultaneously as a part of this, is breaking down illusions and false narratives and false projections of any type that maybe we've been operating under, shaking foundations perhaps, and destabilizing what we thought was real. Saturn is also preparing to enter the sign of Pisces, you guys, in alignment with the full moon. Now, I will say, for the full moon chart exactly, Saturn has not yet entered the sign of Pisces. He is at 29 degrees and 59 minutes of the sign of Aquarius. So this can be a bit of a more like crisis-ridden energy, like something needs to happen, like something needs to get done, like something needs to change, and it could really be, like I said, like shaking some foundations. But Saturn moving into Pisces, this is sort of breaking down the barriers and the boundaries between fantasy and reality, between the solid ground under my feet and the ethereal planes existing invisibly all around me. So definitely we could be experiencing and going through some major like changes in the way that we are viewing ourselves, the world, our past, history generally, our lives, like multiple facets and areas of like life and society and just experience on earth that we thought we were a certain way, coming to find out like, oh no, that's not what I thought that it actually was, and it's actually this. You know what I mean? This is the type of stuff, okay? Maybe some like potentially mind-blowing experiences, and maybe some eruptions of information that could perhaps be coming through as well. The breakdowns, the endings. We are in the end of the end of the end. We are in the end of this 20-year cycle with Pluto and Capricorn, bringing down the past paradigm, bringing down the past matrix, totally leveling and like reframing power and control dynamics and authority and leadership and government and the ground that has been stabilizing it all, the table that the House of Cards has been built on. This is what is being destabilized in this energy, and the endings, right? And then these new beginnings, these new opportunities, the epiphanies, the awakenings, the revelations, and what will come of that, the information, the perspective, and the healing that we are experiencing now. These are all in divine alignment, you guys. These are all in divine timing. This is facilitating our growth on a spiritual level. So over the course of this next couple of weeks, again, moving into our new moon and Aries cycle, just be prepared for things to start shifting and changing, and for things maybe that we had been relying upon or that we thought would be there forever, or that we even thought we were very committed to kind of maybe take an abrupt or sudden turn. Maybe it's not abrupt or sudden or at all. Maybe this has been like quite a long time coming, but either way, like this is the transition point. This is the moving on. This is also the new beginning, and things are about to change drastically and for the better. But we got to keep going. We can't give up. You know, we can't be afraid. Like that's also what this is. This is ending cycles of fear that have kept us from being able to move forward and do what we know was right. This is choosing, you know, what's right over what's easy. This is faith over fear. That's, you know, the hero's journey as well. We are learning to look towards the future and to stop focusing on the past. We are learning to stop dwelling in any states of victimhood or where we've been wronged or where we've been harmed or what we haven't had, and to start focusing on what we can create and what we can do with what we have, and all of the endless opportunities and possibilities that are available to us if we move in that direction, and if we stop dwelling in the past, and if we start anticipating and expecting and working towards and authoring and creating a better future for ourselves in alignment with the person that we are becoming now. If you've needed to do a personal redesign, recreate yourself, If you feel like you're going through a rebirth, you're absolutely right in alignment with the energetics, right on time. And this Virgo full moon, I feel like, is really, I mean, like I said, we're in the last half of the last cycle of this energetic year, and simultaneous to this, we're in the last the last degree, at the very last minute, 29 degrees and 59 minutes of Saturn ruling karma, ruling the past, and the sign of Aquarius ruling the future. Like, our future is no longer defined by our past. In fact, Saturn's going to be moving up into Pisces and really just totally opening up the boundaries on what is possible for us to create, if we can only believe it, if we can only imagine it, if we can only see it in our mind and stop focusing on what we don't want and what is no longer relevant to our growth going forward. So there could be some loss, you guys. There could be some letting go with this full moon cycle. But if we can be strong, if we can let go, if we can surrender to the hero's journey, if we can gain the wisdom and the insight that's trying to come to us now at this period of time, we will find ourselves being reborn in a way that is 10 to a million times more authentic and powerful and fulfilling and aligned with what feels right to us, with our personal truth, with our higher selves. This full moon is very, very much, like I've said, about this Chiron archetype, the hero's journey, and facing the future with a renewed heart, a renewed soul, a renewed spirit, because we've gone through this experience, because we've faced it, because we haven't run away, because we've stood strong, because we persevered, because we've overcome, because through that process, we've discovered who we really are. And as a result of that, we're no longer willing to go back to who we thought that we were. So we're not looking back, we're looking forward, and as we should be, as we are in a really very fresh new beginning, heading through this month of March and heading towards our new moon in Aries, which is actually on the very day of the equinox this year, you guys. So we're in the end of the end of the end right now, but our new moon in Aries this year falls in exact alignment with 1 degree of Aries, the birth of the sun. And that doesn't always happen. That doesn't happen often, actually. So we have ultimate rebirth coming, you guys, after this next couple of weeks. So we just got to make it through, and it's for the best. So those are, I feel like, sort of the overall themes coming through. Let's talk specifically about the aspects now. Number 1, we have the full moon. Like I said, it is happening at 16 degrees, 40 minutes of the signs of Virgo and Pisces, the moon in Virgo, the sun in the sign of Pisces, 17 degrees of Virgo for the full moon, if we're looking at the Sabian symbols. Uranus right now, ruling our Great Awakening, ruling our paradigm shift into the age of Aquarius, happens to be in Taurus right now. Uranus in the sign of Taurus. This is a 7-year period of time. It takes Uranus 7 years to transit a sign. Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is the sign of growth, the sign of the builder, the sign of resources, value, potential. Uranus is the Great Awakener. Uranus in the sign of Taurus. This is, first of all, it's rectifying, righting anything that has gotten out of balance in regards to what is needed for authentic growth and authentic value to be expressed. But in terms of us, individually, what this is doing is helping to awaken us to the truth of our own value, our own inner resources, our own potential, our own internalized sense of abundance and the gifts and the talents within, and what can become of those physically, externally, materially, if we can cultivate them, if we can nurture them, if we can be the builder, if we can, work with them and create and develop and manifest it outwardly, the abundance and the comfort and the beauty that can be created in our physical environment, all of these Taurus themes. That's what we are awakening to. That's what's being righted, rectified, realigned when we have Uranus transiting the sign of Taurus. Now, in the context of Uranus and Taurus, right, in the trine to this full moon, this is sudden revelations and awakenings to the truth of our value, the truth of our potential, and the changes and the corrections to finances and partnerships that are necessary in order so that that can come to pass. This could be indicating some shakeups. This could also be indicating some storms. Let's talk about the Sabian symbol placements for just a minute of the full moon itself. The moon itself located Sabian symbol placement 17 degrees of Virgo, that Sabian symbol is a volcanic eruption, bringing dust clouds, flowing lava, and earth rumblings. So with that being the position of the moon, you guys, and it being in the trine to Uranus, which also rules sudden storms, more so electrical storms, but the moon is aspecting both Mars and Uranus, and at that degree we could just see some explosive or eruptive type of things going on. Honestly, we also could see some like earthquakes or some legitimate volcanic eruptions, or just maybe some things that really shake the foundations that we're standing on. Like literally, it specifically says earth rumblings, with Pluto also at the very last degree right now of the sign of Capricorn, this earth sign. Saturn, also this earth sign at the very last degree of the sign of Aquarius. Like, in this specific degree, placement, talking about it, like, yeah, don't be surprised if there are either some type of literal or metaphorical earth rumblings, eruptions that go on in some capacity, one way or another. However, we have the position of the sun opposition to the full moon in the sign of Pisces, 17 degrees of Pisces, and Easter promenade. So what's an Easter promenade? This is a celebration, right, of rebirth, of a return of the sun, of a return of the light, of the Christ consciousness, right? Like existing again and having access to it. Like, this is what we're celebrating. This is where we're going. On one hand, yes, the tower may be crumbling. There may be some eruptions. There may be some earth shakes or earthquakes or stuff like that going on. Like I said, literal, metaphorical. But what this is leading towards is this rejoicing in this rebirth. So challenges presenting, you guys, but we persevere through because we're headed in a positive direction. Again, this 7 energy, overcoming conflict, overcoming loss, overcoming maybe changes to our foundations that maybe we weren't expecting or anticipating, or maybe we were, and this is just when they finally happened, but it's moving us forward in this more positive direction. And then with Uranus there as well, Uranus currently as at 16 degrees of Taurus. So this is a tight trine. This is only a 1 degree off trine, and earth signs also. Things happen when we have earth sign energy going on. It's not the realm of ideas, the air, or the emotions, the water, or like the passions, fire. We're talking about the earth signs when things are happening in the 3D and on the ground. So there could be some very, and this is a trine, this is a facilitating aspect. This is also with this earth sign energy really hitting on like financial markets and economies and resources and supply chains, food and stuff like that. Oil also could be something going on with the Pisces influence, because Pisces, Neptune, this rules oil. But Uranus at 16 degrees of Taurus, that Sabian symbol is an old teacher fails to interest his pupils in traditional knowledge. So this is also talking about like moving away from the past, no longer interested in looking back. We're looking forward. The focus is on the future, with Pluto about to enter the sign of Aquarius soon as well. Aquarius is a sign of the future, of potential that's waiting to be manifest and developed and experienced. Pluto there, this is an intense, powerful focus on the future. The future orientation is where we're going, and that may also be what we're awakening to. There's just this generalized sense of something hitting us or coming to some conclusion or some type of an awakening or some type of greater understanding or mindset shift or perspective change or experience that opens our eyes in some type of a way that really helps us to like, we're not even trying. It's like not something that we're even fighting. It's just, we're done. Like that chapter's over. We are emotionally detaching. We're no longer emotionally receptive to the same things that we were in the past, because we want something more. We want something more in alignment with us. We want something more real. We want something more authentic, and we're no longer willing to put time, energy, or work into really anything that is associated with what we don't want anymore, what's not working for us. So with the Uranus aspect coming in, there could be some unexpected, bizarre, disruptive stuff going on, sudden changes to plans, sudden, but it's this Virgo Pisces, so it's like shifts in like what we thought was happening. It's like changes in perspective, random, unexpected information, or conversations that are opening our eyes to something. And, there is opportunity, like I've said, there is this energy with the 7 vibe, and also it's not just the trine that we have between Uranus and the full moon. We also have Mars forming a square to the moon, and this is loose. It's a 5-degree orb. It's not super tight, but it's still present. It's still going on between the sun and the moon at 17 degrees of their signs, and Mars is currently at 22 degrees of Gemini. So this is a mutable square that we also have setting up, and this is likely to produce some confrontations as well, some arguments, maybe fights over ideas, or fights over viewpoints or perspectives or information or values, or what is valuable, value, worth, money, relationship and partnership dynamics. We could be hearing something, or there could be like mind changes also that are causing conflict or confrontation. This energy could also be bringing up some cognitive dissonance that we're sort of struggling with over this next couple weeks, having to confront maybe some harsh truths that are really sort of hard for us to process or to wrap our mind around or to accept into our personal worldview or into our personal paradigm. Information wars with this could be a feature of this energy as it plays out over this next couple weeks as well. Battles for the narrative, battles for truth, very disruptive information that is uncomfortable and like really changes things for us, maybe could be coming up that we like don't really love, but it's sort of hitting right now, and it's like that is what it is, and there's nothing I can do, like I can't change it, so I've got to go in this direction, whether I necessarily want to or not. But I do feel like, you guys, for the most part, like we're not really going to be resisting the changes. Like I do feel like for the most part, we're going to be like, okay, and we're going to be like, I'm ready to let go. Like this is the last straw kind of thing, and like I'm ready to move on. But, it's also, as I said, destroying these false narratives and illusions and delusions and fantasies and like self-imposed limitations and stuff, breaking down mind control and mental programming, again, ending these karmic cycles, maybe in subconscious programming or cyclical patterns of thinking and behavior that had kept us in a certain pattern for like long periods of time. This is definite cycle breaker energy, as it would be mandated through the hero's journey process. Once you go through a hero's journey process, you can no longer continue to perpetuate the patterns of the past. So they sort of go hand in hand. But this Mars square, especially considering this is Mars's third pass of this particular point. Mars was here. We've been in a very extended Mars transit through the sign of Gemini. Mars was here before. Mars retrograded. Mars is back to this point. This is the third time that Mars is coming to this point. And so because this is the third pass of this energy and we have this T-square coming in Mars in the sign of Gemini, I do feel like this is indicating breaking out of any like self-imposed mental prisons that had been like keeping us from being able to face our personal truth and like move ourselves forward in a way that like helps us to overcome the challenges and the past versions of ourselves that were not contributing to like our growth and expansion, right? Or that we're keeping us in those cycles that we are being supported and breaking free from now. So bringing clarity for sure. And again, like fighting for truth, fighting for information, with this being such a super healing oriented full moon, this information that we're fighting for, this truth that we're fighting for over this next couple weeks in this energy could be very related to health, healing, wounding, medicine, drugs, poisons, cures, because of the Pisces energy, the Pisces theme, and the Virgo theme as well. And also the Jupiter expansion emphasis on Chiron, the wounded healer teacher archetype. Like people are just likely to be really talking about like flushing out, explaining just in conversation and stuff, various ways that they have been wounded in the past or how they've suffered, but simultaneously like how they've overcome, how they've conquered, what they've done, how they've healed. And with Mars ruling the sign of Aries, where Jupiter and Chiron are in conjunction currently for this full moon, again, like Mars is the warrior, right? This is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for this healing. We're fighting for this wisdom. We're fighting for this greater sense of self-awareness. and gaining a greater sense of mastery over our own healing too. This is also like taking a greater sense of ownership over our own health and over our own lifestyle and over our own ability to contribute to our own well-being. That's another dimension, I feel like, of the lessons that we're learning and the information or the clarity kind of that's coming into context throughout the course of this full moon cycle. So now let's talk more specifically about the third dynamic of energy that's coming in today, which we've talked a bit about already, but we're going to be talking more and more about, in this video and then over this next couple days as this energy draws more exact, because we still have this exact activation pending. But Jupiter and Chiron are in a conjunction. To me, this is shaman energy. This is a profound healing energy, healing ability. It usually, people who are born under an exact Jupiter Chiron transit have a greater likelihood to really be very connected to and immersed in the hero's journey experience, the Chiron archetypes, the, wounding, victimization, healing, overcoming, transcending, alchemizing, transmuting, coming to a place of self-mastery and consciously creating going forward. This whole process throughout the course of their lives, which really is the shamanic path. That's another way to say it. The hero's journey. This is also the shamanic path. This is shaman energy to me. We are all being given opportunity this cycle to be our own shaman, to be our own healer, to be our own hero, to pull ourselves out of the past, to break these cycles. We are our own knight in shining armor as this energy is coming through. It's also happening in a divinely aligned, dust and faded way. Mercury is ruling the Virgo cycle, okay? We're in a Virgo cycle ruled by Mercury. Mercury is an aspect to the nodes for this moment in time that we have playing out right now too, which we will talk more about in a minute. But this is all coming together according to a specific activation in this cosmic blueprint that is unfolding to give us the tools that we need to create the transition into the age of Aquarius. It's actually very, we can't see it, right? You can't see the forest through the trees, right? But couple thousand years from now, guys, when people are looking back on this period of time in the history and talking about how the change happened, how we went from where we've been to what will become and what we're transitioning into now, it really, we will be the ancestors that did that made that happen through the vibrational, through aligning energetically with the vibrational shift that's happening on a greater level right now and making these internalized changes, going through these experiences, overcoming these, breaking these karmic loops and overcoming these karmic traps and stuff like that, going through this conscious evolution. We're the generation, not just the generation, this is obviously a multi-generation process, but we're really at the forefront of it, I guess we could say. And, it's happening energetically, of course, but in order for the earth, the physical earth, to make that transition, to make that transformation, we have to do it. And us doing this, working with the energy, surrendering to the process, being the shaman, being the hero, making the hard choices because they're right, choosing the future over the past. This is how we usher in the age of Aquarius. So we've got some pretty significant Chiron energy going on. One thing that I didn't say, the nodes, right? The North Node in an aspect to Mercury right now, who's ruling this Virgo full moon, also happens to be in a conjunction to the Chiron point in the sky, the origin point where Chiron was originally discovered. Holds most to all the same themes and energy and frequencies and archetypes, energetic archetypes of Chiron himself. So we really actually have a double Chiron energy going on. We've got Chiron and Jupiter together, the most expansive Chiron energy that there is. And we've also got Mercury ruling this moon itself in a trine to the North Node, the destiny point right now, the collective destiny, the next phase of growth, the lesson plan underway in a conjunction to the Chiron point as well. So this is a fated hero's journey, you guys. It's all happening divine timings, it's all happening divine alignment, massive galactic push right now for this personal healing, overcoming states of victimhood, overcoming lack mentality and lack mindset, embracing our value and our worth, awakening to our value and worth with Uranus in the trine to the full moon, but embracing that value, worth, that potential, consciously creating our future instead of unconsciously attracting experiences to us based on our subconscious programming. We are breaking out of these karmic cycles. Transmutation, transcendence, alchemization, gaining mastery over ourselves, our lives, our experiences, faith, hope in the future over fear, lack, in the past. We owe it to ourselves to create the life that we truly deserve. If we have a desire for it, it's because that is what resonates with our soul, and there's no reason that we can't have it except for whatever beliefs that we want to maintain that we can't. Okay, we need to shift our perspective, we need to shift our mindset and believe that we deserve to have what we want, what we know that we're worthy of, and actually work to create it in alignment with the faith that universe wants to bring that to us as well. And letting go and releasing ourselves from, the negative attachments from the past that keep our vibration lowered so that we stay in that stagnant state. So this hero's journey, you guys, we are overcoming. This is not about doing what's easy. Like I've been saying, it's about doing what's right. And we are seeing our challenges that are presenting, maybe these volcanic eruptions and the dust clouds and the flowing lava and the earth rumblings as opportunities for our growth, not as the things that are going to lead to our demise, okay? There's tremendous opportunity in crisis, and we need to sort of if we experience any of that type of thing throughout this next couple of weeks, that's what we need to be looking for. We need to be looking for the golden nuggets in, what may appear to be, I don't know, avalanches or volcano eruptions, or I don't know, some type of just storms that may be hitting us in one way or another. Growth and personal expansion coming through the challenges that we are persevering through, that we are overcoming this cycle. As I said, we also have Mercury ruling the Virgo cycle itself in this trine and sextile to the nodes. That is, again, indicating this divinely timed, divinely aligned orchestration of whatever's coming our way right now. And it's honestly it's coming from the high, it's being announced. There's some type of call to action, okay? Mercury itself, 8 degrees of Pisces for this Virgo full moon, a girl blowing a bugle, some type of an announcement, some type of important, again, maybe information or something that we're learning or something that's opening our mind or opening our eyes or blowing our mind or changing our viewpoint or changing our perspective. But something that requires our attention, and it's like a call to attention. And then the positions of the North and the South node. This is also in alignment with that hero's journey energy and with everything that we've been talking about. The nodes are explaining it. Again, 1 degree out of exact conjunction with the Chiron point. The Chiron point is at 4 degrees of the sign of Taurus. The North node right now is at 5 degrees of the sign of Taurus. South node at 5 degrees of Scorpio. Sabian symbol for 5 degrees of Taurus. That Sabian symbol is a youthful widow, fresh and soul cleansed from grief, kneels at an open grave to receive the secrets of eternal life. So how are we going to choose to look at things, you guys? Are we going to embrace and to dwell in the pain of the past and our loss and what we have to move on and walk away from? Or are we going to embrace the opportunity for an entirely new and different future that could bring us something perhaps that was even more fulfilling than maybe what we had experienced in the past? Our life is not over, our life is not ending just because maybe some chapters of it are. And the South node at 6 degrees of Scorpio, that Sabian symbol, or 5 degrees of Scorpio, a massive rocky shore, resistance the pounding of the sea. We just need to keep going. We can't let things get us down. These endings and these beginnings, whatever emotions, turbulent emotions, difficult emotions may be coming up and maybe sort of trying to break us, or that we have to deal with. Like, we have to withstand whatever might be trying to break us down. This is a cycle where we can't give up, we can't give in, and what we gain in return for sustaining and persevering through this process moving forward, especially on an internal level, is going to be priceless, is going to be so valuable to us in terms of our expansion and our growth. And not only that, the life that we get to live and experience going forward, that is a reflection of that overall experience and of that process and of what we've gained through that experience, through that journey, right? That hero's journey, that shamanic path that is universe is trying to acquaint us with at this period of time. It's all in this divine timing. The nodes are in play. It's all in this divine alignment. And finally, the last thing that we need to discuss today, of course, is Saturn's entrance into the sign of Pisces. In correspondence with our full moon in Pisces, it would have to be, or Pisces in Virgo. It's very interesting. Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius for a full 2 years. And then here we go. We've got a full moon going on in Virgo and Pisces. Let's go ahead and have Saturn move into the sign of Pisces on that day. Now, as I've said, this is not happening at the moment of the full moon, but throughout the course of the day, it will be happening. Saturn is at 29 degrees, 59 minutes of the sign of Aquarius at the moment of the full moon. Again, this is indicating potential for a bit of maybe crisis-oriented scenarios that could be going on throughout the course of the cycle, but it's because we're transitioning. Things need to happen so that something else can happen. Any changes that we haven't been able to make or we haven't done up until this point in time, like, energy is making it happen for us, moving things along for us, and it could just have, that type of dimension to it. But this transition point, like, it is to be expected. Saturn, 29 degrees, 59 minutes, sign of Aquarius, that Sabian symbol, 30 Aquarius, moonlit fields, once Babylon, now blooming white. It is to return things to their proper order. It is actually, again, like, to put things right. Anywhere where there was a distortion or things were out of alignment or energy was not operating in a way that was conducive to the proper growth and development, like, this is what is being purged, purified, transformed, restructured, reframed, and new foundations are being laid in alignment with what can truly make us bloom in a way that is organic and right for our soul's expression. Moving forward, going through the rest of this cycle and through this year as we're transitioning into the age of Aquarius. So ending certain karmic cycles on one hand, with Saturn moving into the sign of Pisces on the other hand, bringing karmic repercussions to that which has been, I feel like, deceitful or deceptive or out of alignment with authenticity, truth, and a higher calling. We're being called back into alignment with our higher selves, wherever we've been running from that, wherever we've been hiding from that, wherever we've been avoiding it or escaping it. I feel like there's some karmic repercussions that are coming in terms of that regard, with Saturn entering the sign of Pisces as well. And we are going to be talking a lot about Saturn in the sign of Pisces in my video for tomorrow. Not going to get too into it today, but tomorrow we're really going to be focusing on Saturn and Pisces, but restructuring our beliefs about things, responsibility, a commitment to our higher selves, to a higher truth, to a higher power. This is sort of the vibe that is adding to ending these karmic cycles in disloyalty to our own authentic truth. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. So that's what we have going on, you guys. That's what I have to say for this full moon energy, for this full moon chart as it's playing out. Again, we're on a hero's journey. The main theme of this energy: healing, growth, learning, gaining awareness, gaining wisdom, and simultaneously this desire to release ourselves from, to no longer put energy and effort into, to no longer receive or accept anything that is not in alignment with the truth of our value. We are detaching ourselves from our fears, from false perceptions of lack as we are awakening to and rediscovering the truth of our value, the truth of our potential, and what can become of it. New opportunities coming our way, you guys. We are heading towards a period of some radical new beginnings coming up with this new moon in Aries over this next couple of weeks. So we are not giving up. We are not giving in. We are understanding and perhaps to some extent anticipating that things, may be a little bit difficult as we are going through this period of time, but they have to be when we're talking about a Chiron hero's journey, because without going through the challenge, you guys, there's no growth without struggle. And so we're being stretched, okay, like to a greater capacity so that we, again, are prepared for the blessings that are trying to come to us and the new beginnings that want to enter our lives. We've got to be purified. We've got to be refined. We've got to transmute. We've got to release. We've got to alchemize. We've got to transcend. We've got to move on. We've got to decide that we are focusing forward and that we are not looking back. So that's where this full moon is taking us, you guys. Let's get a synchronicity card now. This is just going to be a little mantra for us, piece of guidance, advice, wisdom to carry us through this full moon phase. What do we need to know about our full moon? What do we need to tell ourselves? What is a good piece of information to keep in our mind? It says, seek the spirit. So there is no power but of God's, Romans 13:1. Okay, here it is. When you have a problem, become aware of the power of God to help you. There is no power but that of God. Seek the Spirit of God within you. Do not give power to others to affect you or the situation. Okay, know that God is there for you, already solving this problem. Find joy in your heart with this knowledge. God is there for you. There is no problem God cannot handle. We're surrendering the burden this cycle, you guys. We are trusting and we are having faith, right? Again, we are not looking back. We are not holding on to fear. We're trusting the process with the faith that Uranus is at play. Things are not necessarily as they seem. Things that are happening, things that are coming up, that may seem negative on the surface. We're not judging them on their surface value, and we're trusting that people, places, situations happening, involving themselves, coming into our circumstances and experience now are in one way, form, capacity, working towards our growth, working towards our personal development, working towards helping us to gain some type of an awareness that brings us into a closer alignment with our higher selves and with our true path and with our soul purpose. So seek the spirit, you guys. Trust the plan, okay? We are overcoming. We are not giving up. We are not looking back. We are not looking down. We are looking straight ahead with the faith, the trust, and the belief that we are able to overcome, that we have the power and the strength within us, and that right around the corner, because it's true, right around the corner is a whole new day that is going to feel amazing. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. That's my full moon interpretation for this full moon in Virgo. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think they would like this type of astrology content, if you think they'd be interested as well. Leave me comments, you guys. Let me know how this full moon energy is playing out for you. I have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook group, Instagram, some other social media stuff in my description box below. If you're interested in any of that, well, that's where you'll find that. I also write a blog that goes along with these videos that's posted over there, and I also make short videos that I post over there as well if you're interested. Come back with me tomorrow, you guys. Like I said, tomorrow is my video where I'm really going to be getting into this Saturn transit into Pisces. We're going to be talking all about Saturn and Pisces, how this energy works, how this energy operates, and what it might mean for us over this next couple of years. So that's what's coming tomorrow. I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you then, guys. Have a beautiful full moon. And until tomorrow, bye.